Okay, so I think every now and then, right, the tech world just kind of throws us a curveball.
Yeah.
One of those things where you're just like, wait, hold on, did that really just happen?
Definitely throws you for a loop.
And this week, we got one of those curveballs, for sure.
For sure. Big time.
Because Elon Musk's AI company, xAI, just went and acquired X. And X, of course, being what we all used to know as Twitter, right?
Yeah.
In a $33 billion all-stock deal.
Huge news in the tech world. And it really makes you think, what does this mean? Not just for those two companies, but for everyone who uses X, everyone who's on social media. I mean, AI is already a big part of our lives.
Right, exactly.
But this feels like a whole new level.
It does, yeah. And that's why we're doing this this deep dive today. We've been poring over articles from AP News, transcripts from CNBC, Bloomberg Television, some really insightful stuff.
Oh yeah, some fascinating perspectives in those.
Yeah, and we want to kind of synthesize all that, distill it down into the most important takeaways for you so that you can understand what this actually means for you as an X user, right?
Absolutely.
And for anyone who's just fascinated by this intersection of AI and social media, because it's only going to get more intertwined, right?
It feels like we're just at the beginning.
Yeah, for sure. So let's rewind to Friday, March 28th, 2025. Elon Musk drops this bomb via, what else? A post on X.
I mean, of course, right? Where else would he announce it?
I know. Announces that xAI is acquiring X in this all-stock deal. I mean, talk about cutting to the chase.
Straight to the point, no messing around. And when you look at the numbers, they're pretty mind-blowing.
Yeah.
xAI is currently valued at about $80 billion. And X, even with its, shall we say, ups and downs lately, is still at $33 billion.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite a change from what Musk paid for Twitter back in 2022, remember?
Yeah, $44 billion back then, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, exactly, $44 billion. That was before all everything that's happened since then. And don't forget, according to one of those CNBC reports, X is carrying something like $12 billion in debt right now.
Right, so a significant valuation shift. Makes you wonder what's behind all this, right?
And
why this move? Why now? Well, Musk himself said that the goal is to unlock immense potential by blending xAI's advanced AI capability and expertise with X's massive reach.
Which sounds super ambitious, right?
It does, yeah.
But then in that same X post, he goes on to say something like, xAI and X, their futures are completely tied together.
Yep.
He's talking about combining data, their AI models, computing power, even talent, everything, all to basically make the X experience smarter, more engaging for literally billions of users.
Yeah.
And he throws in that whole staying true to our mission of seeking truth and advancing knowledge bit.
Oh, yeah. Classic Musk.
Right. But it paints this picture of deep integration. It's not just about bolting one thing onto another. It's about creating something entirely new.
It sounds like he's trying to take, X, this huge, sprawling digital town square with all these conversations happening, and inject it with pure AI intelligence straight from the xAI lab.
Exactly. It's almost like he's trying to create this AI-powered nervous system for the whole platform.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And it's interesting because it's not like these two were total strangers before, right? I mean, xAI has already been using data from public X posts to train its model, so it's not like this is coming out of left field.
Right. It's like they were already, dating before they decided to get married.
Exactly. And even before this acquisition, X users, even those who aren't paying for any premium features, could use xAI's chatbot, Grok.
Yeah, Grok's been pretty popular, actually.
Yeah, it has. And there was some initial confusion, I think, about whether it was just for paying subscribers.
Right. I remember that.
But our sources all clarify that anyone can use it. Ask up to 10 questions every 2 hours.
So that kind of integration, that AI layer, it was already there, in a way.
Right. It was. So I think the big question on everyone's mind is okay, all this sounds cool and futuristic, but what does it actually mean for me, the person scrolling through X every day? Will my feed suddenly look different tomorrow?
Right. Will there be flashing lights and new buttons everywhere?
Exactly. Well, from what we've gathered, the short-term answer seems to be probably not. Don't expect any drastic overnight changes to how the platform looks or feels. At least not right away.
But it's the long term.
Yeah.
That's where things get really interesting.
Totally, yeah. And when we start thinking long-term, the possibilities are kind of mind-blowing. We could see some seriously advanced AI features woven into the whole X experience.
For example, think about content recommendations. Right now, they're pretty basic, just algorithms based on what you've liked before.
Yeah.
But imagine if those recommendations were actually powered by super sophisticated AI that could, anticipate your interest in a much deeper way.
Right, really understand what you're interested in.
Exactly. And not just show you more of the same, but actually introduce you to new perspectives, different viewpoints that you might not have even considered before.
That could actually be really cool.
Right. And then think about moderation. The way X deals with, harmful content, misinformation, all that.
Which honestly hasn't been their strong suit.
Yeah, let's be honest. But with AI, they could potentially identify and address that stuff much more efficiently, much more intelligently.
Makes sense. And then there's the whole potential for entirely new interactive AI elements, right? Imagine having conversations with AI-powered bots that are so good, they're almost indistinguishable from real people.
Right, almost like having a personal AI assistant that helps you navigate the platform, find the information you're looking for, or even create new content,
Yeah, that's pretty wild. And the sources also hinted at a potentially bigger shift. This move to AI could mean X starts to rely less on traditional advertising for revenue.
Which would be huge, right? Because that's how most social media platforms make their money. But if X can offer these really valuable AI-driven features that people are willing to pay for.
Right, like premium tools or unique content creation features, that kind of thing.
Then they could create a whole new business model, one that doesn't just rely on showing you ads.
Makes you wonder what that would look like for users.
It does. But, not everyone is convinced that this is all sunshine and roses. There are definitely some questions, some concerns being raised by experts.
Right. And what are some of those?
Well, one Bloomberg analyst we were looking at, he said that this acquisition actually makes the relationship between xAI and X less, quote, clumsy, unquote.
Less clumsy. Interesting.
Yeah. Because remember, Grok was already using X data, right? So bringing those two entities under the same roof, it just streamlines things, makes it all more direct, more efficient.
So less bureaucratic, more streamlined. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
But he also pointed out that if X were a public company...
Which is not anymore, right?
Not anymore, no. But if it were, you can bet that corporate governance experts would be all over this deal. They'd be questioning the valuation, especially since it's basically one Musk-owned company buying another Musk-owned company.
Right, potential conflict of interest there.
Exactly. And for a public company, there are all sorts of rules and regulations about ensuring fair value for shareholders, avoiding those conflicts.
Which doesn't really apply here since both xAI and X are private now, right?
Right. So less scrutiny, less immediate pressure from public markets or potential shareholder lawsuits. But it does raise some interesting questions about, transparency.
It does. And it sounds like the reaction from the wider tech community has been pretty mixed, too.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
Yeah.
You've got people who see this as the next big thing, Musk being this visionary, pushing the boundaries of AI and social media. And then you've got the folks who are, a little more skeptical.
Makes sense. There's always going to be different perspectives.
Right. Some people worry about integrating these two very different company cultures.
Yeah.
xAI and X. They have their own ways of doing things, their own priorities. And then there are the bigger concerns, what does it mean for competition? If one entity controls both a major social platform and a leading AI lab.
Right. Potential monopoly issues.
Exactly. And then there's the financial angle. Some commentators have pointed out that Musk might be trying to spin this acquisition as a way of, basically getting his money back from the whole Twitter deal.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, by assigning such a high valuation to xAI and then using it to acquire X, it kind of looks like the combined entity is worth around what he originally paid for Twitter, especially when you factor in xAI's stake. It's a complex financial play, but it's definitely something people are talking about.
It is. Okay, so let's bring it all back. What's the bottom line for our listeners? What should they really take away from all of this?
I think the key takeaway is that Elon Musk has brought his two big ventures, X and xAI, together in a major way. And his goal seems pretty clear. He wants to deeply integrate AI into the entire X platform with the promise of creating a whole new experience for users down the line.
So while your everyday use of X probably won't change drastically overnight, there's a huge potential for AI to reshape the platform in the future.
Exactly. And this whole deal, it raises a lot of questions too, about how companies are structured, about the role of AI in our lives, about the future of social media.
And ultimately, what does it all mean for us, the users?
Right. So here's something to think about as we leave you today. As AI and social media become more and more intertwined, what are the most exciting possibilities? And let's be honest, what are the potential downsides? Think about how this might affect your own relationship with social media, how you interact with information online. Because this is just the beginning, the story's still unfolding, and it's going to be fascinating to see where it goes from here.
And we'll be here to cover it every step of the way. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Absolutely. Until next time.
What are your thoughts on today's topic? I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay blessed.